the live stream button on. It's on. The meeting's recorded and also published live on the Maryland General Assembly website. Just for housekeeping, DLS has asked any member, any delegation member that's on this call, you actually have to have your camera on to comply with the Open Meetings Act. So just keep that, fix your hair and keep that in perspective for this morning. So it's live. All right.
That can fix your hair.
So we'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So that flag should pop up here. All right, here we go. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, well, I wanted to welcome everyone to our second delegation meeting here in Annapolis. The members have been quite busy getting their legislation together. And as you know, today is the deadline to request legislation in order to avoid it going into rules, so to be on time. We have a very busy agenda, so we're going to move through expeditiously. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. For the members, we sent out two versions. One was a longer version. The second was a bullet version. I'm hoping that the members appreciate a very concise minutes, brief, that just gives the facts and then we rock on so we're not spending all night reading them. So if there's a motion to approve or any questions with the minutes, I'd like to hear them.
So, Chair, point of clarification on the minutes. I noticed that in one of the notes, it said that that as we were discussing committee bills or bills that individual legislators may put in affecting areas of Frederick County, there's a notation that's made that says that the chair commented that if a bill affects Frederick County and is not approved by this delegation, it will not be approved by the committee that it's heard in. I don't believe that that's correct.
Right.
Can I get clarification on that, Senator? I'm sorry.
Well, so I'll give you the clarification. So if you have a local bill that impacts Frederick County only, the committees will require a letter from the delegation in support or not in support of the bill. We had a scenario, Delegate Kerr may remember, where a bill was put in, it did not have the support of the delegation, and the committee did not move forward with it. So that's the rule. You're more than welcome to reach out to the chairs of each respective committees, get their input on it. But that's what we've been told. So I just wanted to relay that with the rest of the delegation.
And that's why I just wanted to clarify the comment to make sure I understood it correctly.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Senator Lewis-Young.
I'd like to make a suggestion going forward. We got about 3 communications about the agenda and the attachments for today. So in order to prepare for the meeting, you had to go back over 3, maybe 4 emails. My recommendation is that if that needs to happen, because I understand agendas evolve, put all of the attachments on the final email so that we don't have to surf through a couple of emails to get all of the attachments.
Sure. So what happened was I had 2 bills that came back on behalf of Frederick County government. I wanted to give each member of the delegation enough time to prepare. So I got the email in advance. What happened then was we got another bill back from Delegate Kerr after that email went out. And so I had a decision to make. Do I send another email to all the members so they can be prepared for the meeting, or do I not send it and then surprise them during the meeting? So one thing that I'll tell you is that I will always give all the members as much information as I can up front so they are prepared. That's my job, to make sure that you are prepared. I apologize in advance if it's one more email that you had to read, but I would rather you guys be prepared, educated, ready to rock during the meeting than me surprising you. But I will definitely take that in consideration, Senator.
Let me clarify my question. I don't have a problem with numerous emails. Just put all the attachments in the final one so that we don't have to go back through all the emails to develop our folder of
Hey,
the
drop her off.
materials.
Do you want anything from McDonald's?
Mrs.
Someone
Mrs.
turn
Harris,
their
I think
mic off.
you've
What?
got to mute yourself, Miss Harris. Thank you. All right. So here's the thing. Well, let me ask you guys this. When do you want to see the email for the delegation meeting? Do you want to see it the day before, or do you want to see it a few days in advance?
24 hours in advance is fine. 2 days would be nice, but at a minimum, 24 hours in advance.
And if something comes to my attention, let's say after I send the 48-hour notice, do you want me to send another email or just wait until the meeting?
Send another email.
Okay. All right. So we're back where we started. Okay.
Just put
We
them
just
all
want all
in the
the
final
attachments.
document.
So
So-
reply all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I moved.
All right. There's a motion. Is there a second or any?
Second,
Thank you, Senator. Any discussion? All right. All in favor of approving the minutes from the last meeting, signify by saying aye.
aye.
Aye. Aye.
Wonderful. All right, and Senator, I will take that in consideration. And listen, I hate getting a crazy amount of emails. I understand. So we'll try to streamline that process.
It's not the emails, Delegate Pippi. That's not the problem. I just want all the attachments
We
in
didn't get
one
them.
place.
Karen,
in the
Or
final
Senator, we
email.
didn't get the attachment until after the email was sent. I think that's what you're missing.
No.
Yes.
All- I understand that.
All right,
Yes.
we're moving on because we got a tight schedule here. So, what we did do is we sent out LR 1270, which is the polygraph examination bill. We sent out the marriage license fee bill, and then after that email, we got another email with the other attachment, and we sent that out related to the Java bill. So, a brief discussion about these Frederick County government priorities, because we will be voting to approve as a delegation or not to approve, most likely at the next meeting. So are there any concerns with these three bills? Any members? Senator Lewis Young.
Yeah, I have some concerns about the polygraph examination bill. Former delegate Susan Krebs always used to ask, what problem is it we're trying to fix? So one, I'd like to know, why is this needed? What has happened to indicate that we need to polygraph every employee, every potential employee? How frequently has that concern arrived? Like, what are the numbers? Has it been once or twice over the past year? Are there a dozen or more instances that are behind the need for this? And how accurate are these polygraphs? I have read a lot of information that say people get really, really nervous and therefore throw the results off. So could we get some data about both reliability, frequency, and some solid logical backup for taking such a draconian step?
Sure. And what I want to do just very quickly, and those are all good questions, and we should get the answers to them, is I want to just give a very fast synopsis of each bill. That way everyone everyone understands what the bill is. So we'll start with the polygraph bill. So generally in Maryland, employers are prohibited from polygraphing prospective employees. So a law was passed to exempt certain organizations from that prohibition. And one of those organizations is a correctional facility. So for example, a correctional facility has the option to polygraph correctional officers if they so choose. That's current law. What this bill does is it expands the current law to also allow a correctional facility to polygraph other employees that come in contact with inmates. And so I don't know if some of you remember, there were some gangs in Baltimore City where the correctional officers and prison staff were actually colluding with inmates for contraband and other things. But back to your point, Senator, if the county, maybe Ms. Venable is here on behalf of the county executive who requests this legislation, wants to just very briefly chime in on the very specific need why we want to expand that this year, I'm happy to oblige that.
Thank you, Chairman. Hi, everybody. It's Victoria. So I don't have any examples of why specifically in Frederick County this is needed. I can certainly look back and see if I can find what initiated this. The one thing I do want to clarify is that this is enabling legislation, so it wouldn't require the office to actually administer these tests for all employees. It would just enable. And then additionally, this is an adjustment that adds Frederick County to the list of jurisdictions that have adult detention centers to be able to use these lie detector tests. So if you look at the bill, there's actually a list of all of the other jurisdictions that are currently able to use this and are exempt from that prohibition. This adds Frederick County to those other jurisdictions. I can certainly look back at the information from the original town halls that created these requests for county executive proposed legislation and get any additional information.
Thank you, Victoria. And I also want to say that we did reach out to the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. For those of you that don't know, the Sheriff's Office also manages the correctional facilities within the county, and the sheriff did provide a indication of support for the legislation. Delegate Fair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to echo some of the senator's comments as well as my own general concerns. I would like to see some data suggesting that these are somehow effective. I have a dear friend in District 4 who lost a job in law enforcement because they could not pass one of these tests despite having a stellar record. The fact is these tests can be very biased. They can be very faulty. I want to see that there is a overwhelming need to have a test like this in order to hire and put an employment these individuals into the position before we even create an enabling piece of legislation that allows folks to have that option to move forward. I would also suggest that we take some time to review the best practices around lie detector tests and talk about, the results of what has happened countrywide when it comes to utilizing these lie detector tests before we go jumping all in together. And I believe from the town hall back in December that this was pushed forward by the county executive at the request of the sheriff. So I would highly suggest that we at least have one hearing where the sheriff's office can come and present their logic behind the need for this legislation before we vote on it. But thank you for your time.
Any other questions or comments about the legislation? Delegate Valentine.
I would just like to add that having been in this position before for employment and having taken lie detectors for employment, this is just one component of an application process, part of a larger, broader spectrum of an investigation when conducting employment background. So I'd just like to add that, and having been through that process through the application process.
Sure.
It would not be solely dependent on just a lie detector. This is just one element.
Thank you, Delegate. Looks like you also have, for the new delegates, there's a little button where you can electronically raise your hand too, but I can see your hand, so you're good. Delegate Boucher.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good. It was mentioned that this is enabling legislation. We did enabling legislation in Carroll County for EMS service. So once it passed, it still had to come through the Commissioner Board. If this passes the General Assembly, will it still have to go in front of the Carroll County Council for them to actually implement it? or does it automatically go forward?
So you mean the Frederick County Council?
Yeah, yes.
No, so a lot of laws, or I should say a lot of decisions can be made directly at the state level. So as I understand it, should this pass, a correctional facility within Frederick County would have the option of administering a polygraph test to a prospective employee other than a correctional officer that comes into contact with inmates. So I don't think there has to be another level. It comes directly from the state.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, and one thing I'm just going to point out and just briefly remark before we move on to the next bill is that, you know, generally, unlike, you know, someone working at Safeway or, you know, some other location, you know, when you have individuals that are working within a correctional facility, they are put in a significant position of trust and in some cases in a position of danger. And so we want to make sure that those individuals are ready for the job and that there's no concerns there. And so that being said, we're going to move on to Senator
Delegate Pipping.
And then I got you, Senator Folden. I think Senator Lewis Young's hand's still up, but Senator Folden, go ahead.
I just wanted to kind of echo what Delegate Valentine said. The polygraph examination, it measures physiological responses to certain questions. So I've heard people talk about, oh, I've had a friend who lost their job. I mean, if they lost their job or they were not hired because of it, this is one step, like Delegate Valentine said, in an in-depth process. These people are the caretakers and custodians, and they are one of the biggest liabilities that a governmental agency can have as far as their interaction with inmates and the smuggling of contraband. I mean, everybody has seen, you know, the horror stories of what happens when the inmates are very persuasive and they befriend someone on the staff and make them feel valuable, and then the illicit things that follow. And this is just a step that the sheriff has taken to try to minimize that, to eliminate that opportunity, and to show that they don't have any past occurrence. Because I know this is going to be a shocker to everybody, but not everybody is truthful. So they can say certain things, but you know, being hooked up and knowing that it's monitoring these physiological reactions is a standard that I would like to think we'd all be okay with, because it's ultimately protecting all of us, everyone in the county, everyone in the state, from these type of issues that should these people be able to obtain illicit items within the confines of the jail. So I would just like to leave it at that. So thank you.
All right. Here, we've got a very busy schedule. Delegate Simpson, if you want to make just a brief comment, I don't want to shortchange you. We've got a lot of stuff to move on here. Go ahead. Please.
Yeah, I just concur. The studies don't show that that's what it does. If that's really what they're after, then, you know, from my experience, Child Protective Services, working with the police closely, and working with employment, then what they want is a psychological and do testing to see how how much they are influenced by others, which would be much more accurate than a polygraph.
All right, thank you, Delegate. So we're
excuse me, but before we move on, I would like to know if the county council voted to move this legislation forward, since the point was made that it's enabling and the county council will not necessarily vote on it once the state votes it enabling. I'd like to know if just the county executive moved this forward or if the county council had the opportunity to provide input before the fact.
Okay. Victoria, you've got your marching orders for some info to find out, all right? We're going to move on to an easy one. We're going to go to the very controversial Java bill. Are there any concerns with the Java bill in this delegation? Okay. We all voted affirmatively to approve this before. It was passed in Baltimore County. The only thing we're doing, I believe, is just adding Frederick County to the bill, and then also saying that it would just go to IEPs. Delegate Kerr, is that your understanding, sir?
It is, and I move favorable support and with the delegation.
Do you guys want to vote to approve this now and just get it off our plate, or do you want to wait?
Vote to approve it now.
All right, Delegate, go ahead and make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the delegation send a favorable letter in support of the Java bill.
Second,
Okay, any discussion? I have one question. Do you want it to be a Frederick County bill, or do you want it to stay in your, well, you want it to be a Frederick County bill in the name of?
Frederick County
Okay.
is where we're going with it.
So we're going to convert it to a Frederick County delegation bill in the name of and provide a letter of support. So that's the motion. It's been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Look at that. Progress. I love it. Okay. So now we're going to move on to another bill. I'm sure there'll be some discussion. This is the marriage license fee bill. And I want to just give a very brief overview of what this is, and then we can open it up for some discussion. And then we have a presentation by MML and then also Hood College and Rick. So I've got about 8 minutes to get this done here. So currently in Frederick County, if you want to get married, you have to pay a marriage license fee. The total fee that you pay at the clerk's office is $75. $5 of that fee goes to the county, $5 of that fee goes to the state, and $65 of that dollars goes to where by law, it can go to a private organization that deals with domestic violence. That's what's written in the law. So what this bill does is it's asking to raise that fee from $75 to a total of $85 total. The additional $10 does not go to the state, does not go to the county. It would go to that private entity. And as I understand it, there's only one of those entities in the county that would qualify. I want to point out a couple things. Frederick County currently has the second highest fee in the state of Maryland. If we raise this to $85, we have the highest marriage license fee in the state of Maryland, tied with Baltimore City. And I want to bring up a couple other things. These fees are not waivable. You know, so if you want to marry, which the Supreme Court has held is a fundamental right to marry, you have to pay this fee. So I'm happy to hear any comments, concerns about this legislation. So we'll open it up. Delegate Boucher.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a lot of reservations about this. I think if the impetus behind this legislative initiative is to address domestic violence and counseling, I think it should be on the rear end on a divorce proceedings, left to the discretion of a judge as to whether to initiate this fee and impose it in judgment upon one party or the other or both. I think it's not proper to have this on the front end on a marriage license.
Thank you. Any other comments from any other members? One thing I will bring up is, indigent, concern that I have generally is if you're indigent, if you're unable to afford, so for example, if you go to court and you're unable to afford, the court has the ability to waive court fees, particularly to help out individuals that are financially struggling in our county. But these fees are unwaivable, and so that's a big difference, between those two scenarios. Delegate Farrer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I would like to clarify for my friend there in Carroll County, just how the fees themselves, they do apply to all marriage licenses, but they go out to, this goes directly to the organization, not specifically tagged to any marriage per se, but rather it's a generic fund that helps operate an organization that has historically been underfunded and struggles massively to keep up with the demands of both domestic violence, intimate partner violence, and sexual assault that occur throughout our county. And so from that end, it has been a huge help and lift for that organization to be able to provide services on a daily basis. But it's important to note, not just to married couples, but really to all people in Frederick County who suffer from and are survivors of this violence. You know, I certainly take the delegates' comments into perspective, though, and appreciate that perspective, because it gave me a lot to think about there as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Delegate. Senator Lewis-Young.
Thank you. I certainly think this is a very noble and necessary cause. However, I have a real problem, like some of my other colleagues, with having the highest fee in the state. We certainly don't have the highest per capita income in the state. And on a variety of other economic measures, there's no reason that any of our fees should be the highest in the state. So I would recommend that we all be very innovative, put our thinking caps on, and find another source of funding other than this.
Thank you, Senator. Delegate Weibel.
Thank you, Delegate. Do we know how many licenses are issued on average on an annual basis in Frederick County?
2,000.
2,000. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the delegation? Okay. So we will, it's highly likely that we will be voting on this next meeting. So keep that in mind. I just want to give a very brief update with the Frederick County Liquor Board. I went ahead and requested all 7 of their requests for drafting. Obviously, we still have to go through them as a delegation and then ultimately vote on them, but I went ahead and put those in to not miss the legislative request deadline. So I will keep you abreast of that. Again, just to reiterate, today is the deadline. I want to say it's maybe 5 p.m. I'm not really sure, but if you haven't requested legislation by today, you're cutting it close. So we're going to go ahead and move on to MML. They have some legislative priorities. One favor that I'm going to ask is if you could keep this to 10 minutes, your presentation maybe to 6, and then allow for some questions at the end. That would help us greatly. Thank you. I'm assuming they're here. Are they here?
MML.
They may not be. So here we're gonna we'll circle back to them. For folks representing Hood College, if you are here, this is something that we've got to take care of today. We're ready for you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for making time on your agenda. For those of you who don't know me, I am President Chapdelaine, the proud president who serves Hood College. We are coming to you. Delegate Kerr encouraged this to be put on the agenda, so thank you to our fine alum, Delegate Kerr, to be with us today to talk about this program. As many of you may know, Delegate Kerr has also been looking at this issue from a statewide perspective. I have with me this morning our Director of Government and Community Community and Corporate Relations, Helen Profiter, and also my Provost, Dr. Debbie Ricker. And Debbie really can answer specific questions about the program if you have them. At Hood, we have had several new programs in the health sciences presented to MHEC for approval per the state process over the past several years. This is the first time, in fact, none of us at Hood know when we last received an objection for an academic program from any other institution in the state. So I just say that to say we are very careful in doing our research to make sure that we're fulfilling the criteria of MHEC for the need for our programs, as well as ensuring, of course, the quality of the program before we bring it forward. We believe that this program does not show any duplication in terms of market, and we have a lot of data to support that. That seems to be the primary concern of University of Baltimore, who submitted the objection. We know, based on our research, based on talking with our health partners, Frederick Health, as well as Emeritus, that this is a very strong need. We also know that we ourselves are struggling to have enough faculty to teach our much needed nursing program and to expand our undergraduate degree in nursing because of faculty needs. And we know that, as we all know, that undergraduate nurses, BSNs, are desperately needed throughout the state as well. So for those reasons, we have brought this program forward, adhering to all the accreditation standards of the Nursing Association. And we would love your support in moving it forward and getting it approved by the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. So just a couple brief comments, and I submitted letters of support from both Frederick Health, which is our flagship medical facility in Frederick County, and also from Meritus Medical Center, I think, which is based out of Hagerstown. But what Hood College is looking to do is add a master's degree program. And for those of you that don't know, in Maryland, in order to teach at the collegiate level, you have to have a master's degree or above. As I understand it, there's only a few institutions or one institution that offers this program in the state, and they are the ones that are opposing you from establishing your own. Is that correct?
That is correct. Johns Hopkins has this program, and Notre Dame in Baltimore also has this program. Neither of them have any concerns about adding this program.
Okay. Delegate Kerr?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to say a few things in support of this request. Over the summer, I have been serving on the commission to study the healthcare workforce crisis in Maryland. That report from that commission is due out shortly, and two of the recommendations are removing barriers to licensure and certification, and also finding ways to increase the supply of allied health workers, nurses in the state of Maryland. This directly contradicts the findings of this commission and the recommendations coming forth from the commission. Additionally, last August, this article came out in the Daily Record from the National Center for Health Management Systems, and it specifically says MHEC should discontinue its practice of allowing institutions to object to others' new proposals for programs. It's been an option to institutions that's been overused and has delayed students' access to these types of programs. One more thing I'd like to show that as we ask for our colleagues from Washington and Carroll County to support us on this, is hope we can all see the map.
He's got presentation tools. Look at
that. Here is Hood College. The blue areas here are students who are not served by a comprehensive four-year institution, public institution in Maryland. However, in Frederick, we're fortunate enough to have two private liberal arts colleges that are comprehensive. You can see that Western Carroll County is also in the same situation, as well as the entirety of Washington County. The state is not providing our residents with the same higher educational opportunities, public higher education opportunities it's provided the majority of the state, specifically the 95 corridor.
Okay.
So if we do have a willing partner in Hood College to take this on, and it's demonstrated that this is a very serious need, that I would hope that our colleagues in Washington and Carroll County would join your colleagues in Frederick County in supporting this effort by Hood College. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Delegate. Senator Lewis Young.
Thank you. I'd also like to say a few words of support for this program. And by the way, I commend Hood College for coming forward and really meeting the needs of the community and the jobs of the 21st century. Clearly, we have a shortage of healthcare workers in particular nurses. That was exasperated by the COVID pandemic. In fact, I was talking to the CEO of our local hospital the other night. They are paying way over normal wages to traveling nurses just to fill the gap. So if we had greater opportunities to do that, those cost savings would be passed on, hopefully, right back to our constituents. This constitutes great economic opportunity for our community. It provides a career path for nurses that want to know they have future opportunity. And by the way, that might help keep them in our community. The only objection that I've ever heard is the one that Delegate Kerr alluded to, a competitive issue. But we ought to have the right to grow our own local talent. So I fully support this. And I hope we can fast track this and vote on this today. And that was a motion.
Okay. So that being said, unless there's any other brief comments, would somebody, Delegate April, you want to make a very brief, and we'll.
Very brief. Yes, I absolutely support this, and I'm so glad you had your visual aid support there, Delegate Kerr. I did appreciate that because that's exactly what I was thinking, and to see it on a map like that was great. I also echo Senator Lewis Young's comments. I am also concerned as far as following the blueprint, right? If we're going to follow that blueprint and provide more career options, more pathways, diverse certifications, then we need this type of program in our area. For our CTC has an incredible nursing program that can feed into FCC, that can feed right into Hood. And then now you've got your instructors, and it's this whole circle to keep local talent. So I 100% support this.
Okay. So is there a motion to support a letter?
Chairman.
Sorry, Senator Fulton.
Yeah, I just want to, I apologize. Because I'm on the road and I'm trying to be as safe as I can, so I can't be on video with all of you. It's probably better most of you don't see it anyways. However, what's the, I just want to make sure, is this a territorial thing or am I missing something? Is there a cost associated with us moving this forward that's going to come out of the
There'll be no cost.
There's no cost?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Hello?
Sorry, Delegate Kerr, do you want, I think Delegate Kerr's going to try to answer your question, Senator.
Actually, perhaps Dr. Chapdelaine would be the best to answer this question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Go ahead, Doctor.
There's no cost to the state for this program. And that's the benefit of private colleges that are putting up these programs forward. So there's no specific cost relative to this program. Any state support for this program goes through supporting the students through some of the grants and available. The concern, to answer your question more directly about that, is there's several criteria upon which an institution can object to another institution's. And one is that it is duplication and would impact their numbers. So it is an attempt to ensure that it does not hurt the market for others. My provost can give details, but very quickly, we looked at our data. Almost all of our students in our graduate programs, including our online programs, are from Frederick. We have less than 1% of our current graduate students in online programs from Baltimore County. We are growing our own. This program came out of a need of our local hospitals and out of our own students asking to be able to continue at Hood in the master's program, many of which pipeline from FCC, who shared with us that they're having trouble with staffing just as we are. So the argument that this would somehow lead to many students from Baltimore County, we know that nationally students go to online programs with their local institutions. So I think that is the concern, but we don't see any data to support it.
Okay. Delegate Fair for the final and brief comment. You're mute.
It is just a comment and not a question. Yesterday, I was on the quarterly Healthcare Coalition call for Frederick County. it was expressed that they are looking to expand efforts working with trauma-informed care specialists throughout the county, as this has become a critical need, especially in our hospitals and in our emergency rooms throughout the county. I had inquired at the time whether or not that organization had been partnering with Hood College and FCC on their nursing programs to provide certifications for trauma-informed care. They said they were unsure. And so I just want to alert Dr. Chapdelaine, you to that effort. And I'm hoping that Hood College can sign on to helping to create more trauma-informed care nurses available throughout our community. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
all right,
I just wanted to,
yep.
just real quick, President Chapdelaine, I appreciate you giving clarity on that. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure it was, maybe territorial wasn't the correct word, but I do appreciate your insight. And that clarifies my question. Thank you.
Cool. Is there, I guess we'll entertain a motion, and this is to have a letter of support from the delegation that will help Hood in their efforts. And so,
Yeah, there's already a motion on the
there is.
table.
All right, so Senator
Second.
Lewis Young made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, second, and any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of drafting a letter of support for Hood?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, wonderful. Congratulations, Hood. We support our local businesses, our local institutions. You know, we represent Western Maryland, just saying. Please reach out if you need anything in the future, and please contact our office, and then we'll coordinate with you on that letter.
Thank you so very much. And I'm going to sign off. It's now 6:30 in the morning where I am, so I'll go get my coffee.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
very, very much. Have a good day.
So moving on, we've got Mr. Rick Ludwig for a very brief overview of the sidewalk project in Liberty Town. And I just want to remind you, the bells are going to start ringing in about 8 minutes for us. So if you could keep your comments concise and brief, and go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I'm Rick Ludwig. I'm the president of the Liberty Town Community Civic Association. We've been working for many years on trying to get sidewalks in Liberty Town, and we made some progress. And this is a little premature to bring this to you today, but you will be getting from the County Council a priority letter, transportation priority letter, and the transportation priority report. And in there, I'm told, I have not seen the latest draft because it's not complete, will be a recommendation that Liberty Town sidewalks be the #1 priority for Frederick County. Presently, they are in a 30% design phase, and they completed a complete survey of the town to gather all the data, and now they're designing a 30% plan. We're going to be looking for 100% design study in the future and construction dollars for that. In addition, in the TPR, there will be a recommendation that there be a Liberty Town connector, which is a bypass for Liberty Town between Maryland 550 and 75. And I'm told that will be in the TPR as well. And that is just a proposed idea. It's never even had a cost estimate. And we would like to get the State Highway Administration to do a cost estimate so that the road could be put on the highway needs inventory, which is necessary before it ever can be considered for construction. So we're going to be looking for a letter of support from the delegation for these two items, the connector and the sidewalks. But I know you're going to want to read that and see it in the TPR. And I'm told that that will be coming before the delegation on February 3rd.
Okay, so just to recap for the delegation members, Liberty Town is an unincorporated community in the kind of the middle of Frederick County towards the east side. It's a very cool community. If you've ever been through a parade, which I've been through many through there, I don't know if there are sidewalks or if they are, they're like broken up. I just remember people's yards to get back.
Yeah, they're 100-year-old sidewalks.
100-year-old sidewalks. So they're probably in need. And as I understand it, Rick is looking for a letter of support essentially keep the funds or put the funds in with the State Highway Administration. So it's something that's being worked on in another bucket, so to speak, but that we would support that effort. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Cool. Any questions for Mr. Ludwig from the delegation? So Rick, if you can get us that info maybe in the next week or so, and then what we'll do is we'll put it on the agenda for a vote once everybody has an opportunity to look at it. The info. And the other thing that's important to note is that because this is unincorporated, the county council and the Frederick County Executive, it has to be their priority too, because it's not a municipality to where there's, a Burgess or a mayor or somebody that we can deal directly with. They're technically under the jurisdiction of the county executive and council. So that's a point.
And just so you know, we do have their support, and that's why this will be in the TPR. We've been working.
Wonderful. That's helpful for us. Excellent. Any other brief comments, Rick, or you're good to go?
I'm good. We're gonna be working on drafting a letter of support that you guys can all review.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. We will open it up as soon as this ambulance goes by. We will open it up for any public comments for any of the attendees if they have any brief comments, and then we will follow that with some member comments, and then we'll be done. So if you want to read. All right, Rick.
I just have one brief comment, and that is, I would like to know how it is that you get a bill going if you're not from a municipality, or it's not something that a delegate themselves developed. I have two bills that I would like to see move forward. It's not going to happen this year, but I don't know how to even get it done for next year. So if somebody after this meeting could contact me and let me know the right procedure to do that, because it's clear to me you have to start way in advance.
Sure. We'll have Andrew in my office contact you afterwards, and we can go through that with you. Make sure you're ready to go.
All right.
Okay. I didn't see any public comments. Any member comments for the good of the order?
Yeah, Delegate Pepe.
Senator Fulton.
Have we already covered old business?
Yes.
Or new business then?
Yeah, the MML. Okay, so yes, we've covered old and new, but I mean, if you've got, this is the time, if you've got something new or that you want to.
Well, I just have a bill that I was submitting and I wanted to see about making it a delegation bill. It's just a redraft, I should say, of the pay increase for the office of the sheriff as a delegation bill. It was moved forward, I guess last year. It died on the floor, and I would like to have the delegation resubmit that so that we can have that in place fully in effect by the year 26.
Have you requested the legislation?
Yep.
So what we'll do is, like we do with all the bills, is when you get the LR back, the text of the bill, please send that to our office, and then we will share that within 24 or 48 hours of the next meeting. So not bombard you guys with email, but we'll share the language with the delegation members, and then we'll put it on the agenda for next week, and then we can discuss it as a delegation and then go from there. But,
okay, great. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up that it's coming, and if they have any questions, to reach out. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Senator Lewis Young.
Thank you. Three things I'd like to mention. We have a transit caucus. It is both for senators as well as delegates. We have 75 members. There is no charge to join the caucus. We're talking about all kinds of transit options, and we will prioritize transit bills that come before us. I hope you will all consider joining, because the more input we have from both urban and rural communities, the better. Number two, I have been working with a couple members of this delegation to do some initial drafting on the BYOB issue, as well as the red light or or no, the speed camera issue. I think we're a bit further along with the speed camera issue, but I think we can work with our liquor board people to come to an agreement on the other issue. We've looked at best practices and we have submitted tentative legislation for drafting just as a placeholder and hope to have something before you next week.
Wonderful. Thank you, Senator. Any other delegation comments for the good? Or any comments from mayors of Mount Airy? Larry Hushhour, yes, sir.
Appreciate you recognizing me. I just want to say I appreciate everything the Frederick delegation did for us. And now that they've redrawn the lines and encompassed all of Mount Airy over to the Carroll side, and we have comfortably transitioned over there. Great group of people over there as well. And I just wanted you to know that we're still out there. If you need anything from us, by all means, let us know and we'll stay engaged with you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Hey, and we didn't forget about you.
No,
we look forward to supporting you as well as in conjunction with the Carroll County delegation.
Great. And just to let you know, I actually live on the Frederick side, so I'm still working with the Frederick County Council and Frederick executives. So it's a bit of a mix over here, but we enjoy playing with both sides.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Okay. So I think we're good unless anybody has anything else. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Delegate Siliberti. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Delegate Valentine, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, you guys have a great day and a great weekend.